Namaste and welcome. Thanks for showing up, those of you who are in the room, and thanks for tuning in, those of you who are in your own rooms. My name's Keith. Welcome. Today we're going to experiment with crossing the brain. So looking at some brain connections and looking at some body connections and how the brain and the body can connect to each other. So start first just defining a seat that works for you. And bring your hands up into the center of your heart. Let your eyes settle, or you can drop your gaze toward the floor. Let your breath sink in deeply to your body. And every time that you breathe in, feel the relationship right away between your two hands. And imagine as you breathe in, that you can fill up into your left palm. And then as you breathe out, exhale into your right palm. And feel this crossing over in the two directions of your breath. And as they crisscross across the body and they come in and out of your lungs, really create a seamless exchange, a seamless transfer. And then pause as you breathe out in the middle and switch up the relationship so that when you breathe in, you can expand into your right palm. And when you breathe out, settle into your left hand. Breathing in to the right and out into the left. And you can visualize as you breathe, not just a line or an X that goes from side to side, but an overlap that almost looks like an infinity symbol. Like the way the swimmer hits the wall and turns to return to the other end of the pool. This going across the body, this going across the brain, has this infinite possibility through connection. And let yourself experiment with that for another moment. And then at the end of your exhale, let your two hands feel equal. Allow your breath to feel equal somewhere in the middle. Drop your chin toward your heart. Pause there. And then you can begin to lift your head away from your heart and to separate your hands. Open up your eyes and take your hands down to your knees. And have your palms face up as you set that up. I'm going to start by joining on your right hand, your thumb and your pinky. And on your left hand, your thumb and your index finger. Okay, so your two hands should look a little bit different if you look down at them, but they both have a joining over toward your left side. And then begin to change that so that you walk along your fingers, changing to your thumb in the middle and thumb and ring. And then the opposite hand, it's thumb and ring, thumb and middle, ending up at the other end with thumb and pinky, thumb and index. So you just traded sides. And then walk that back, joining each digit in the middle until you get back over to the left side of your body. Using the breath in to walk in one direction. Using the breath out to walk back in the other direction. So that your two hands are doing something similar, but not exactly the same thing. And then continue to move that way. And if it helps, you can turn your head as you're moving so that you remember which direction you're supposed to be going? Trading these fingers and connecting them to your breath. Walking along connections. Ask, see if you can still your head somewhere in the middle. And simply feed your way across the span of your hand. Not speeding up at any point, because that gets harder. Noticing when one of your hands gets ahead of the other. And taking this cycle one more time. Moving toward the right side of your body. Moving over toward the left side of your body. Good. And then release and open your hands and turn your palms down for a moment. And then turn them open again. And then over on your left hand, drop your middle and your ring finger into your palm. And then over on your right hand, drop your index and your pinky finger into your palm. And then have your two hands face up on your knees. So your two hands should look different. And then as you breathe in, switch the relationship. So you change what's up to down and what's down to up. And then as you breathe out, switch it again. And you can check on your hands and the shapes so that they never look the same. Switching with your breath. Inhaling into one position and exhaling into the other. And you can spot check your hands along the way and see what's going on with them. Switching side to side, these relationships, the inhale as well as the exhale. The inhale as well as the exhale. A couple more times like that. One more each switch. And then open up your hands, turn them down for a moment. And then flip them open again. And over on your left hand, drop your index and your ring finger. And over on your right hand, middle and pinky. Okay? So again, they don't look the same at all. They look similar. Okay? And then change it again. So now as you breathe in, what's up is down and what's down is up. And then as you exhale, switch that. And then switch it again. Notice if you're grinding your teeth or clenching your jaw while doing this, or if you're making funny faces with your tongue. And see if the two hands can move at the same time. And you can watch the change. A few more times like that. Last couple in each direction. Switch it one last time, each hand. And then open your hands and turn them down for a moment. Okay? So now we're going to mix and match those two things. Yeah, right? So on your left hand, drop your middle and your ring finger. And over on your right hand, drop your middle and your pinky. Okay? So if you look at those two sides, they should look pretty different. And then as you breathe in, switch what's up to down. And then exhale and switch again. And then change again. And then change again. Switching with the breath in, switching with the breath out. Smoke coming out of your ears, and switching with the breath out. A couple more times like that. One more time. And then open up your hands and turn them down. Okay, last time. Now over with your left hand, drop your middle and pinky down. And over at your right hand, drop your middle and your ring. So you're just switching the roles here. Palms up. And as you breathe in, what's up goes down. And then as you change it, switch it again. And then switch. Notice which setup is more difficult for you. Switching with each breath. When your brain explodes for a moment, take a break, and then come back to it. And then open up your hands and turn them down. Okay, that might be the most difficult thing that you do this morning. Okay. If you need to change your legs at any point, go ahead. Now it's going to be eyes and tongue. Okay. So start by, and if you place a finger on your chin, you know if you are moving your head side to side. If you place the finger on your chin, and then with your breath in, eyes over towards your right, and then exhale back to the center. And then take it over to the left, and back to center. And then over to the right, just your eyes, back to center, and over to the left, back to center. Okay? Pause for a moment. Now it's just your tongue. So when you breathe in, your tongue goes over to the left, center. Your tongue goes to the right, center. Tongue to the left, center, and tongue to the right. Center. One more time, tongue to the left, center, tongue to the right, center. If the finger on your chin is helpful, you can keep it. Now those two things will happen at the same time, okay? Take your breath in, let your breath out go, and then your eyes go right, your tongue goes left. Switch. And then your eyes go left, tongue right. Switch. And then continue to change it that way. Each breath in. A few more times. Last one in each direction. Good, and then center yourself out. You can wipe off the corners of your mouth. And then start to find your way down onto your back. When you get down to your back, have the soles of your feet flat to the floor. And touch the back of your heels if that helps you with the relationship. Just make sure that you're not dropping your knees in or letting them drop out. And then stretch your arms up to the ceiling so that your palms face each other. And then both feet come off the floor. Keep the bend in your knees, so it's about a 90-degree bend. And just commit to your arms being vertical. Commit to your knees being right over your hips. And at some point, one of each extensions of your body will move. So one leg, one arm, but the other will stay in its place. So when you breathe in, extend your right arm next to your ear and let your left big toe touch the ground. And as you exhale, come back to the starting place. Inhale your left arm and your right big toe. So there's still a bend in your right knee. And exhale back to your starting place. Inhale, right arm, left toe. Exhale back to your start. Left arm, right toe with your breath in. And back to your start. And then continue to trade sides like this. Steady with one arm and one leg, moving with the other. And when they move, let them move at the same time. So see if you can return the arm and leg that are moving back to their starting place relatively at the same time. So the crossover point at your middle is stable. Noticing when you begin to drift to one side, leaning or overreaching. When you touch the ground with your foot, it's a light touch. You're already on the way back to the starting place by the time you're touching, so that it never gets heavy or stuck. Three more times with each side. So your right arm, left leg. Two more times, right arm, left leg. Over to your left arm and right leg. Last one, each side. Inhaling to reach. Exhaling back into your start. And then release your arms and your legs down. And sink equally and evenly across your body. Give yourself one more breath right here. And then you can either roll to your side or draw your legs in and rock yourself up. And then once you're up, change onto all fours. Go to your hands and your knees. And set yourself up so that your shoulders are right over your wrists. And your hips are right over your knees. And notice if the weight drops left or right when you're here, and see if you can even it out. And then that same kind of moving from the center line, so that when you breathe in, extend your right arm forward and your left leg backward. And just notice if you fell over to the side all through your pelvis, and then come back to all fours. And then extend with your left arm and your right leg. And then back in. Careful not to lift your leg any higher than you need to. Right arm, left leg. But then as you exhale, touch your right hands to your left knee, so you can draw into yourself. And then extend again, right arm and your left leg. And then all fours. Reach with your left arm and your right leg, breathing in. And then as you exhale, touch your hand to your knee. Extend again, breathe in. And then land all fours. Reach with your right arm and your left toe. Hand to your knee. As you extend out, reach forward with your arm, bend your left knee, and touch your right fingers back to your left foot. As you exhale, hand to your knee. Reach again, breathe in, forward, long arm, long leg, and then all fours. Reach with your left arm and your right leg, breathe in. Hands to your knee as you breathe out. Reach and circle with your arm, bend with your knee. Reach back and touch your own foot. Breathe out to touch your knee to your hand, and then extend long. All fours. Again, right arm and left leg, breathing in. And hand to your knee, breathing out. Reach and circle. Reach back and touch your foot, breathe in. Hand to your knee as you breathe out. Reach forward, inhale. And then draw it back to all fours. Reach with your left arm and your right leg. Hand to your knee. Reach and circle to grab your tail. Exhale your hands to your knee. Reach long, forward and back. And then down to all fours. With your right arm and your left leg. Hands to your knee. Up and around. Breathing in. Touch your knee. Breathe out. Long in both directions. And then all fours. Long in both directions. Hands to your knee. Reach up and around. Hands to your knee. One last time, reaching here, long in both directions. And then all fours. And then pause for a moment and just let your weight go side to side. And when you're going side to side, let your hands articulate so that when you shift the weight out of one hand, roll to the tip of your fingers. So you feel yourself, it's like being on a sticky surface. You're kind of peeling yourself off of it. And let your rocking body weight give you the ability to pick up your hand without it feeling like it requires a lot of effort. And then rock less, but still trade your hands. So there's that same sticky quality that you roll from your wrist to your fingertips. And then as you do that, bring your hand just a little bit back in space so that your hands are more under your chest rather than being under your shoulders now. And then really feel like you're no longer rocking at all. And then as you peel up your right hand, lift your left knee off the ground and then put it back down. And then peel up your left hand and lift your right knee. And then trade sides this way. Right hand, left knee, left hand, right knee. And you're not kicking your leg behind you. Feel as though you're trying to pull your thigh toward your chest, adding a deeper bend into your knee as your knee comes off the ground. So there's a sense of retracting into yourself. Sort of like a cat walking in place. A few more like that. Got one more each hand here. Good, and then pause for a moment. You can flip onto the back of your right hand and just give your wrist some space. Flip it back to your palm and flip onto your left, the back of your left hand. And then both palms down. And rather than picking up, I want you to think about sliding a little bit now. so that as I move my right hand forward, my left knee slides forward. And then as I breathe out, I return to the starting place. Left hand, right knee just slides about 2 inches or so, and then back. And then slide a little bit, and then return. Left hand, right knee, slide, and back. And then notice where your gaze is as you go side to side this way. Sliding, back, sliding, back. So see if you can look forward of your mat a little bit, rather than looking only down at your hands. Trading from side to side. Good, and pause and move to the back of your mat. Curl your toes under. Narrow the space so your hands come even closer to your knees there, so that you can stay compact in your body. And then as you move your right hand, shift your left knee so it's close to your left wrist, and then shift back to your starting place. Your left hand goes forward and your right knee comes right up close to your right wrist. And then you shift back. And then turn that into moving. So as you go, you crawl small steps to the front of your mat. And then the moment you get there, you go backward. So it's the same relationship. Your left hand moves with your right knee, and your right hand moves with your left knee. Crawling in the small space. And then you go forward again. So there's some picking up and putting down, but try not to take big steps. Because if you take big steps, it actually requires a lot more trust. And it feels as though you have almost a hot potato kind of relationship to the floor. And this can be the way that you keep doing it. Or when you get back to your mat, at the back side of your mat, this next time, you can pick up your knees, right? So you can do it with these curled toes and have your knees off the ground. So it's just my hands and my toes that now connect. Keeping your bum lower than you would like to. Still with a sense of pulling into yourself. Walking back and forth. Take one more trip to the front of your mat. And then to the back. And when you get to the back, knees down, point your toes, widen out your knees. Move your hips back towards your heels if that works for your body. And give your arms a stretch out long just for a moment. Let your head drop. Roll your head side to side. Good. And then come back onto all fours. Curl your toes under. Walk your hands backward. And then ease yourself up to stand. And then once you're standing, Bring your feet so they're close together. You can really touch the big toe surfaces and your big toes together. And then once you're there, take your left thumb up, yeah. Place that right in front of you. So it feels like you're checking out something in the distance. And then your thumb is going to draw these small infinity symbols back and forth across your field of vision. So it doesn't go any wider than what feels like your two ears. And then you watch with just your eyes. So you've got your arm and your thumb in motion, but everything else still. And then you're attempting to move your eyes to follow your thumb without moving your head. And again, notice what else gets involved. You start to ball up your right hand or clench through your jaw. A couple more times with this arm before it gets tired. Good. And then relax your thumb to center and drop it away. And then same thing with the other arm. So now your right arm goes forward and your thumb is right in the middle of your field of view. Then you begin to draw these infinities. Notice if you're not actually following your thumb and your eyes are centered and your thumb is moving. I think it's normal. Well, I'll say it's normal because if I have the experience, maybe it's not normal. That one side, one arm is more difficult to track without moving your head or moving your body along with it. Last little bit. And then center out your thumb and release. Give your arms a little shake out. Keep this relationship that you have with your 2 feet. And think about almost like you're standing on top of a telephone pole. So it's a small surface area that you have to sort of maintain your connection to, okay? Yeah, eyebrows, right? Okay. You can, looking down doesn't help you, let's just say that, right? Because then your balance gets a little bit even a little bit more compromised. But just shift the weight into your left foot and move your right leg out, and then put it back. So you can touch toe to toe, and then shift the weight down into your right foot to move your left leg out. And part of what you need to do, just relax for a second, is not try to overlift, because that makes it hard. To go way out here someplace means I've got to pitch my weight over that way. So that means if I'm standing on this telephone pole and I pitch my weight, I'm going that way. But if I keep myself like a pole posted into it, then I can breathe in and move my left leg out to the side and then pull it back down. And then press out with my right leg to the side and bring it back down. And then it's your left leg and down, and your right leg and down. And then you add the opposite arm. So as my left leg goes, my right arm goes. As my right leg goes, my left arm goes. And that continues. And when you're not moving, come back to the starting place. So you really feel like it's a total reset. It's the inhale that moves you. In, X. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Notice if you feel a lot of action in your glute of the leg that's moving out, probably tells you that you can move a little bit less. And then you add one more arm because you have one more arm. So that as you reach out with one arm, the opposite arm goes up. And it all happens at the same time. Try not to look at the floor while you're doing it. Notice when your body wants to shift. When you go out to the side, you can touch the floor with the tip of your toe. That tells you that you haven't gone super high. So working through your balance, working your sense of center, shifting your body weight without changing where the middle is. Last few. Notice if your arms go flying up in a tada kind of way, and see if you can slow down so that your arms move at the same pace as your leg. Couple more each side. Last one for each side. Good, and then settle back into yourself and separate your feet a little bit. And so it feels like your feet are truly hip distance apart. Take your hand, palm up, and notice if your hands open out from your body. Keep them right in line with your elbows as much as possible. And then you're going to end up turning palms over as you lift knees, right? So it looks like this. You can just pause for a second if you're in the room. When I touch, then I come back down. So the thing that I'm watching out for is this. I don't want to rotate my body to touch. So it's a touch, touch. And you can join in. Touch, touch. Always return into your hands being right in front of you. They are going to want to open out. Feel as though you have sort of open palm T-Rex hands. So it really is your elbow pinned right against your side. And then notice how much you're thinking about what you're doing, right? And then we're going to take the thinking part out of it in just a second. Trading side to side without leaning, just like in the last idea. Good, and then pause for a moment. And then it's going to turn into what feels like marching or walking, right? So that as I go from side to side, touch, 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 touch. But notice now that your hands are really going to want to swing out. Touch, 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 trade, 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 trade. And notice what wants to cross. Notice when your knee wants to cross over to meet your hand. And think about your knee coming right up in front. Make your hand go over to meet your knee rather than pulling your knee across your body to meet your hand. And it's a very satisfying slap to the leg. A little bit more. Last 3, 2, 1. Pause. Okay? So that's in front of your body. Okay? So now it's going to go behind your body. So if you put the weight into your right foot, take your left foot behind you. So feel like you're trying to bring your heel to your butt, and then put your foot down. And then the same thing, other side, weight into your left, bring your right foot back into cross, and then drop it. So now as your left foot crosses behind, touch your right fingers there to your heel. Same thing, other side. Trade. And notice when you lean to do it, right? So when you move it, use your hamstrings to contract your leg to bring up your foot. Think about the exhale making the connection. And if you actually touch, doesn't really matter, right? If you get close to touching, that's great. But then you have this other hand, right? So that when I'm reaching behind, touch your shoulder with the other side. That just got harder, huh? And you can feel your hamstring heating up with that, right? Take out some of the hip swing, right? As much as possible. So even as you're crossing over, the center line is still the center line. I mean, there are no straight lines in the body. There's nothing straight about the body, right? It's full of curves and twists and turns. But even in that, there's a sense of middle. A little bit more. Last couple. Last one. And let it go. Okay? Very good. Come back down to sitting. And once you're down, open your legs up wide. Rest your hands on top of your shins. And just be there for a moment. So have a sense of left, right, front, center, and back. So that you can feel where the middle is and where your body wants to kind of go left and right. And then take your left hand, reach across, like you're going to touch your toe. But you don't need to lean or reach for it. It's very tall for it. And then come back to the center and reach across with your right hand as if you're trying to get to your toe, but your arm's just not long enough. And then come back. Then when you reach with your left hand and go across, feel your left sitting bone come up a notch and reach. And then come back. And then reach in the opposite direction. So you feel your right sitting bone come up a notch and then back. And then you reach and you go just a little bit internal with your toes as you reach. So you can turn your left toes in and then come back. And then reach across, internal with your right toes, and then come back. So that when you reach across and you can turn in with your left toes, right from there, when you turn your toes up, drop your left shoulder and your elbow. Reach up with your right arm. As you sit up, you're already reaching across with your right hand and lifting with your sitting bone, turning in with your right toes. Turn your toes up, lean to your right, drop your elbow, arm up. When you're coming up, you're already reaching across. Turn in with your left toes. Lean over, drop your elbow, arm up. And then you can reach with your right arm in the direction of your left toes. Go back up to the ceiling. Come on up. Reach with your right arm. Turn in with your right toes. Lean as you turn up your toes. Drop your elbow. Reach up with your arm. And then you can reach across toward your right toes. Up with your arm. Come on up. Take your left arm, reach across, turn in with your toes. You might even touch your own foot if it's in reach. And then come back to your toes up, elbow down. Reach up with your right arm. Reach over with your fingers. You might make contact with your own toes. And up. Reach across, turn in with your right toes. You might make contact with your own foot. Turn up your right toes, drop your right elbow. Raise your left arm. Reach up and over, and you might make contact with your own foot. Reach up, sit up. One last time with your left arm reaching across. Back through center. Drop your elbow and reach up. Reach across, open your waist. Back up. Sitting up. Last time reaching your right arm across. Turn your right toes in. You might touch your left foot. Come back through center. Drop your elbow. Reach up with your arm. And then you can lean toward your right foot. And then back up. Good. And then right in the middle. So you can have your hands on your shins, or you can walk your hands forward a little bit. Drop toward your elbows. Open up with your chest. If you have a block handy, feel free to place the block under your arms if that makes it feel more like the fold you would like to have. But having your elbows up and your palms down is also great, as long as you keep the length in your spine, so don't just lift your heart a little bit, even as you come forward. Better to keep your head up and your heart up than to round into it. And then you might find there's more room in the middle over a few breaths. Unhinge your jaw. Let your head go. Find one more release. And slowly sit yourself up. Narrow your legs. Make your way down onto your back. When you get down to your back, have your soles flat. Take your breath in. Send the exhale away. Press into your shoulders and your feet to lift your hips an inch or so off the mat, and then move your hips right of center. So your hips move over toward the right edge of your mat and drop them. Stretch out your left arm to the left. And then as you roll onto your left hip, and stack your knees so your knees drop over to the left. And then your right arm can reach out to the right. Gaze toward the ceiling, or you can drop your gaze over to the right. Take any tension that shows up in your legs for your hips, out of shape. Not trying to go any deeper in the twist than what your body allows. And one more breath here. And center your head, step your feet flat to the mat, and even out your hips in the middle. And then press into your feet, lift and shift your hips a little left of center. Your right arm out to the right. And then you can begin to roll your hips. Roll onto your right hips to your knees, drop over to the right. And then your left arm can reach up and over to the left. You can stay on the back of your skull or shift and tilt your gaze to the left. Take your time with your breath in. Let your exhale sink you into the floor. And then center your head. Bring your feet back onto your mat. Center out your pelvis. And then stretch your legs out long. And if it's okay in your body, let your arms stay open in more of a T shape. Palms open to the ceiling. And then add a little room between your 2 feet. And then let your toes relax. They can turn out. And as you breathe out, let your right palm and your left ankle get heavy. Let your breath in return. And as you exhale, let your left palm and your right ankle get heavy. Take a natural breath in. Think about your right shoulder and your left hip dropping through the exhale. And then your left shoulder and your right hip. Your right knee and your left elbow. Your left knee and then your right elbow. Your right lower leg, your left forearm, your left lower leg, your right forearm. your right thigh, your left upper arm, your left thigh, and your right upper arm. And then let your center sink. The base of your skull, the space between your shoulder blades, your belly into your spine. Let your expression soften and sink. Release your tongue and your jaw. And then begin to let your breath deepen again. You can wiggle your fingers, circle your ankles, shift and move in your own specific way. Walk your feet back so that your knees bend. Roll to your side. Use your hands to start to sit yourself up. And join your palms right in the center of your heart. Feel an equal pressure from one side to the other. Fill up, hold back side of your body, get a little bit taller up to the crown of your head. And then let your chin drop to meet your heart. Honoring this time with each other, honoring in each other. And release your head. Thanks for showing up. Peace be with you. Blessings upon you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe.